Hey guys, Dawn, that farm wife here today, and today we were going to can some tomatoes. Now I have already canned a few batches of tomatoes, but I thought I'd let you come along for the ride. Um, Tomatoes was the first thing that I ever learned how to can, and I think that's because when you first learn how to garden, you grow tomatoes, and then you learn how to can tomatoes if you've got a bunch of them. So I've been doing this for about 25 years. You can always learn something new, like I have this year. So the first thing you're going to do for your tomatoes is you want to skin them. And the way you skin them is you put them into a pot of boiling water for about 30 to 60 seconds. Now, is that a hard and fast rule? No, but I've already got some in here that have started to peel. Once they've started to peel, go ahead and throw them in a bowl of ice water. Cool them off. Now my method this year, now I used to always cold pack my tomatoes. That means I would peel them like this, put them in a jar, smush them down until their own juice covered them, and then I would can them. And it's a water bath canning. But I've learned that there's some sort of enzyme in tomatoes that makes the juice separate from the pulp of the tomato after you've canned them. I don't know if you've ever canned before, and once you're done canning and they settle, you end up with a bunch of juice and then the tomatoes floating on the top. But if you cook the tomatoes, and I'm just gonna crush them up because that's just how I like them, because I want them in a jar where I can just use them any way I want. So I'm gonna cook them for about 25 minutes so that the juice will separate less. And get my paring knife and my bucket. So as you can see, got my tomatoes that come out of the hot water. Just gonna core it, skin slip right off. I cut out any bad parts. Because if I canned only the perfect tomatoes I grew, I wouldn't have enough tomatoes to can. Now, obviously, you don't want to can anything that smells rotten, because sometimes I find those. All right, so I'm going to put this in my stainless steel pot over here. And I'm going to turn the heat on for that. So I'm just going to keep going, blanching, peeling, putting them in my stock pot. So I've gotten my my tomatoes all peeled. They've been cooking in my pot for about 25 minutes, maybe longer, I don't know. I just cook them until I'm ready to do the next step, which is we're gonna fill our jars. And my jars, I've got them, had them heated up in my canner until I was ready to go. I don't have enough stove space for all of this. Okay, I have to do things in stages. Maybe when the barn dough gets built, I'll have enough room. Anyways, fill in the jars to a 1/2 inch headspace. Now, tomatoes are one of those foods, as far as like processing, you know, you process foods or can them according to their acidity. And most fruits are very acidic. So you can, no, not fruits. Yeah, fruits and jellies and, well, pickles and all that stuff, they're acidic, so you can water bath can them. That's where I was going with that. Tomatoes are kind of one of those kind of half and half things, as far as like their pH isn't very high on the acidity level. So what you're gonna do, to every jar, well, I feel like I've got a little bit too much in here. No, that's good, 1/2 inch. All right, so for every jar, you're gonna put 2 tablespoons. I take that back, I'm gonna have to do that. I like to do it in the empty jar. 2 tablespoons of lemon juice. I like to use jarred lemon juice because the jarred lemon juice has a more uniform acidity level. So if you used an actual fresh squeezed lemon, you wouldn't be able to necessarily count on the acidity level being exact, and you want it around 5%. Now I'm going to put 2 tablespoons in that one. So 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, and about maybe a teaspoon, maybe a half a teaspoon. Let's do a half a teaspoon. I don't want them too salty. Half a teaspoon of salt. So every jar, 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, half a teaspoon to your taste, whatever, half a teaspoon of salt. And then it's the same as usual. You're gonna debubble, although it's pretty liquidy, you may not have to worry about that. Of course, you could give those things a stir. Wipe the rims, clean those rims, lids on, mine are soaking in hot water, rings on, finger tight. Canner, and there is probably about an inch. You can have 1 inch to 2 inches of water covering your jars. You're going to put the lid on. We're going to get it to a nice rolling boil, and we're going to process it for 40 minutes. All right, the moment of truth. These have water bathed for 40 minutes. Once my timer went off, I let them sit for about another 10 minutes, then took the lid off. If I was smart, I would lift these out. You don't want to bring them out into the world too early or too quickly, as I think, you know. You want these to start cooling down, because if they cool down too quickly, the jar could break. Listen to that pop already. Straight up and out. Look at that. They look good. Got the sound like I have any problem sealing. All right, well, thanks for joining me. Hope you try growing some tomatoes and canning them. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments for me. I'd love to hear from you. And have a good day. Thanks.